Hey guys, ShadowJack05 on the SilverJack05 channel. And guys, today, as promised, and as I said yesterday, today it is time for us to finally review the two Godzilla and Kong items that I got at Fred Meyer, Suko with Titanus Doug, and our normal 6-inch Skar King with Whipslash. Very excited, and yeah, I'm still very excited to review this one, Suko and Titanus Doug, because once again, as I've said before, when I first got the 6-inch Godzilla and Kong figures back in March, and I saw that this figure was in the collection, this 2-pack was the one that I wanted to get most. So, yeah. And it's also because this is the one that I wanted to get most and that I'm really excited for it, that we're actually going to review this one second, and we'll review it in the next video, and why we're going to review this figure in this video. So, yeah. Today's video will be for the 6-inch Skar King. Next video will be Suko with Titanus Doug. So let me just move these two real quick since we'll review them in the next video, if I can talk. So yeah. So we have our Skar King with Whipslash, the 6-inch one. And of course, before we open it, let's take a look at the packaging. So of course, we do have the open package right here. Shows the figure right there. It looks pretty sick. It says Monsterverse right there, the warning choking hazard, Godzilla and Kong the New Empire, the lightning background, some hollow earth crystals. We have Godzilla and Kong right there. Skar King with Whipslash, everything else down here. Here's the other side of the packaging. We have Godzilla and Kong the New Empire right there. Here's the back, shows what the figure looks like, shows how the Whipslash is removable, of course. I like that. Fully articulated and posable. It says Monsterverse right there. It says Godzilla and Kong the New Empire right there. There's the write-up. And of course, we all know how normally I don't feel like reading the write-ups, but since we're reviewing, since today we'll be reviewing both this figure and Suko with Titanus Doug, I'm actually going to read that. So yeah, fast forward if you want to, but I just feel like reading it since today is like a very special day for me. So yeah. So it says Godzilla and Kong return in an all-new adventure, pitting the almighty Kong and the fearsome Godzilla against a colossal undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. That's nice. Well, if you know what I mean, of course. Of course, our existence being threatened is not funny or nice, but you know what I mean. Of course, right here it says Skar King with Whipslash. I'm going to read this too. The evil Skar King rules over his fiery Hollow Earth kingdom, wielding a Whipslash, and commands an unstoppable army to destroy Godzilla and Kong and conquer the world. I see. Of course, we have the rest of the collection. Of course, we got the Godzilla with a heat ray, Godzilla Evolved. These two we've already opened. Got Suko with Titanus Doug, which of course I finally found and we'll review in the next video. We have Kong with Beast Glove, which we already opened. Of course, Shima with Frostbite Blast. And of course, this is the last one of the first wave that I have to find. Once I found the 6-inch Shima, I will then have all the 6-inch figures from the first wave. So, yeah. Anyways, turn around. Last side of it, more Hollow Earth crystals, Skar King with Whipslash, and yeah. Anyways, guys, now I'm going to cut the camera, and I'll be back when I got it out. Okay, guys, I'm back, and we finally got our Skar King out of the packaging, and I already think it looks really great. And, yeah, must say, just like with the other two Skar King figures that I already reviewed, he can be a bit challenging to get standing on his own, but I made it happen in pretty much no time at all. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, of course, I want to take a look at the details first. So, of course, we do have his face right there, and his eyes and everything. Once again, just like on the other two, his eyes are like cross-eyed for some reason, and I really don't know why Playmates does that. I wish they wouldn't do that, but, well, it is what it is. Of course, I really like that red war paint on him, as usual. Of course, got his teeth right there. I don't know if they're perfectly painted, but they're definitely not bad, so, yeah, that's pretty cool. Of course, we do have his Whipslash right there. Got that Whipslash right there. There it is in the back. And for some reason, when this guy was still in the packaging, there was a part of a plastic string that was attached around like this area. So I actually had to like unattach the Whipslash while this guy was still in the packaging, so I could like get this guy out and then cut the plastic string from in the back. And then of course I got it back on once I got it out. So yeah. And of course, just like with the other two, there was a piece of plastic string around here, which I actually got off by um, detaching the Whipslash. Well, no, I simply cut it off, then I detached the Whipslash. So yeah, pretty much like the same with the others. But anyways, of course he does have more of this red war paint on him, on his arms, on his stomach. Pretty nice red fur. Got the feet. And of course, I know I pretty much already showed it, but here he is from the back. More red fur paint. Really like how the fur is sculpted. And of course, his Whipslash is removable. It's pretty much easier to do since he's a smaller figure, at least I think so. So here's what he looks like without the Whipslash on, of course. Turn him around, and that is what he looks like in the back without the Whipslash on. So yeah, pretty cool. Anyways, now let's talk about articulation. So first, his head can move. It can swivel from side to side like this. Can it do a 360? I believe it can. Yes, it can. It can do a 360, but I'm actually going to avoid much of that because, as I've said with the other two before, I'm afraid if I do too much 360 articulation with the head, it could cause some scuffing on the paint. So yeah, you should especially be aware of that if you ever get this figure. So yeah. And unfortunately, the head cannot really move up and down, but that's not that big of a deal to me. And of course, just like with the other two, he does have articulation of the chest area. It's on a ball joint. It's a bit squeaky, but oh well. And I believe it can do a 360 as well, can it? I believe it can. Yes, it can. It's pretty nice. Of course, I don't think the other two Skar King figures like squeaked whenever I did the chest articulation, but I don't know. Of course, the arms, they can move up and down like this, back and forth. They can do a 360 just like that. Can bend at the elbows. And of course, they can swivel at the elbows too. Of course, the wrists can turn, can do a 360, as you can see. And once again, just like Kong, this guy's got some crazy good articulation, but of course he has a little more, which I think is cool. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, this arm can also move back and forth. It can also do a 360 just like that. Can also bend at the elbow, swivel at the elbow, as you can see. And of course, this wrist can turn as well, can turn 360, which I think is very nice. And yeah. And then of course, going down to the legs, his legs can, let me move his arm up so it's not blocking anything. His leg can move back and forth like this, about that much. Can swivel at the knee joints, leg joints, sorry. Of course, he can bend at the knees, about that much. And same with this leg can swivel, can move back and forth about that much, and he can bend at this knee, about that much. So yeah, that's about it for articulation. So moving on from the figure itself, if I can get him to stand, because as I've said already, just like the other two, this guy can be a bit hard to get to stand on his own, but I just made it happen. So of course, here's the Whipslash. And yeah, of course, since this is the normal 6-inch Skar King, doesn't have all the extra paint on it, as you can see. Looks very cool. And of course, to have it fully attached, just put it in like that, pull it out like that. And once again, the way it goes on improperly is just put it in under his left armpit and over his right shoulder, then attach it in and do it like that. So yeah, but of course, I'm gonna put it in his hand. So of course, once again, just like with the other two, just put this part right here and this hand right here, and you pretty much got it. Yeah, it can be a bit tough maybe, but oh well. I made it happen. So yeah, it's pretty cool. One thing, I'm not exactly mad about this, but I just don't exactly know why this was done. On the packaging, it showed that like he had 2 open hands, but on the actual figure, this one hand's closed. So I wonder why they did that. Not exactly sure, but well, it is what it is. Anyways, now then, before I close this out, want to do some figure comparisons. First up, let's see. Let's compare him to Kong right here, the 6-inch one that we reviewed back in March. So yeah, pretty similar in height, I want to say. Very nice. And of course, they're both giant hairy apes, so yeah, I like that. Then next up, let's compare him to the 6-inch exclusive Skar King from the Kong versus Skar King 2-pack. So yeah, basically same figure, but this one has some extra paint on him. So yeah, especially with his Whipslash. So yeah, pretty cool. Anyways, let me set my camera down, of course. And then one last figure comparison. Let's compare him to, if I can fit him on here, which I should be able to. If I can get him to stand, there we go. Comparing him to the giant size Skar King. So yeah, pretty much this figure is basically a bigger version of this figure, as you can see. But yeah, I really like that. And I'm sure you guys can now see, other than the fact that I told you, why I didn't review the giant figures on the table. So yeah. Anyways, really cool. Anyways, let me set our giant guy down here. Let's see here. There we go. Anyways, guys, real quick, but once again before I go, and yeah, this video has gone on longer than I planned it to, but that just happened. I did not want it to go on this long, but I'm going to bring in the 6-inch figures from Wave 1 that I have so far, that I've opened so far, before I go. So, of course, we've got our Skar King right here. We have Kong. Then we have our 6-inch Godzilla Evolved right here. And then, of course, we have our 6-inch Godzilla with a heat ray. Let me see here. I'm going to place him over here. And yeah, these are the 4 6-inch figures from Wave 1 that I have unboxed so far. And of course, in the next video, I'll be opening up Zuko with Titanus Doug. So yeah, I will see you there.